Three,
Today's
two,
pardon my take.
one. My name is Jordan Terry,
My name is Corey Tays.
I'm Mike Lowe.
and we're with TruLaw Marketing. Today's video is all about helping new law firms set up their marketing before they come to a marketing agency like us for help. So we're going to answer some of the most commonly asked questions that we get from new lawyers whenever they're setting up a law firm or entering the digital space. So you can use this information when you're trying to set up your law firm's digital presence. But once you've completed that, you can come to us and we can help you get your law firm ranking on the map and actually driving some cases from digital platforms. And if you don't want to deal with all that, we're happy to handle all these tedious initial steps for you. So let us know if you need help entering the market and getting your law firm set up. So today's first question, and probably the most commonly asked question we get, is I'm creating a new law firm and I don't know where to start with marketing. What can I do to get started with digital marketing? And there's some really easy steps you can take right off the jump that don't cost you anything but a little bit of time. The first, and probably the most important nowadays, is setting up a social media presence. So set up profiles like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Even if you don't post on these social accounts immediately, it's important they are set up. And this is really important. Make sure when you're setting them up that you're using or saving the login credentials in a passkey or somewhere secure. So when you do hire a marketing agency, you're not hunting for all the login credentials for each one of your social accounts. That's something we run into on a very regular basis. Now, once you set up your socials, another thing you can do is set up your Google My Business profile. This is going to help you to appear in Google for local searches, and it's a very important first step. Now, you don't have to optimize it completely. We will give you some tips and tricks on how to optimize it later in the video, but just adding basic information like your name, your address, adding your logo, those kind of things are going to be really important so that you can start appearing in local searches for your practice areas. After you set up your socials and you've set up your GMB, the next thing you're going to do is start collecting some reviews for GMB. This is probably one of the most important ranking factors for driving cases, especially for single event personal injury and local services nowadays. So once you have your Google My Business set up, you're going to want to copy the code it provides you and start sending that out to clients, sending it out to friends, other attorneys you work with, and getting some 5-star reviews for your business. Another important step in this process is getting some photos of your team, of your office, important visuals that you can apply for those social accounts you set up, add to your Google My Business. Now, it's great if you have the means to hire a local photographer, a professional photographer, a videographer. But if you can't do that, if you're just starting off and money's tight, you can even just use an iPhone, use a basic smartphone camera. That'll work in the immediate just to get some photos of you and your business. It just adds a level of credibility and legitimacy for people that are finding your business online. You're also going to really want to focus on branding. So, you can hire folks online for pretty cheap nowadays to help you come up with a logo, colors, brand messaging, and you're going to want to use that, create a consistent brand message and visual identity. Apply that across all the platforms you're setting up. So add your logos, your photos, your colors to your Google My Business. Add those same logos, mantras, brand value propositions, all that to your social accounts. Those are all really easy to execute first steps to have one cohesive, singular brand online. And then finally, it's not entirely necessary, but it is a good step to take if you have the means to do it. Set up some legal directories. So AVVO, Justia, Martindale, even the free accounts are great in the immediate. Make sure that you're setting up those accounts, making a point of contact over at those legal directories so that in the future you can set up the premium accounts. They are kind of a necessary evil nowadays. You want to make sure that your brand is as in many places as possible online, so it's really easy for potential clients to find you, and those legal directories are really important for that. So those are the first steps you can take, and then we're going to kind of break down each of those steps for you.
So, one of the questions we get in relation to social media is, do I need to even set up accounts? And if I do, which platform should I focus on? So, Yes, we recommend, like JT said, setting up accounts on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I think visual consistency across these platforms is super important and it also makes your life easier. So, using the same profile picture, banner, description, and all the other baselines on the accounts will not only make it look more visually consistent, but also make it easier for you. And like JT said, you don't need to start posting immediately every single day, but at least one social post a month on each platform is a good start. Your value proposition, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, will greatly inform the language that you use on social media post, on your description, and it can kind of guide the direction you take in terms of how you relate to clients and everything. And I think social media is a way to test out what language works for you. So once you start generating your own content, it can be easy to repurpose it across the different platforms. So a long form YouTube video you make can be repurposed across TikTok and Instagram and also YouTube Shorts, obviously. And LinkedIn posts that maybe are trying to connect with, fellow professionals can be repurposed on Twitter or kind of used maybe even as a basis for a video that you make. So I think a great way also to manage all of this isn't just by logging into each individual account and trying to post directly from the social media platform is to use a aggregating tool. We use SocialPilot. So it's an easy way to schedule out and post content across all of the platforms I listed above. And also Google My Business, they have an option there for that. So you can also repurpose Twitter content on Google My Business and kind of keep your messaging consistent and then also repurpose forms of content in different ways just to make your life easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Something I'll add is when you're setting up your socials, make sure when it gives you the opportunity to add a handle or customize your handle, you're using a brand specific handle. Now, if you're the Smith Law Firm, good chances that's already taken. So maybe you operate in Pennsylvania, so you use Smith Law Firm PA. Try to keep your handles relatively consistent across all platforms. Try to keep them brand associated, and not just using whatever recommended handle they provide you initially. It's also not, you don't have to post immediately. So obviously when you're starting a new firm or you're setting up shop, you got a lot going on outside of marketing. But like Corey said, take the time to post once a week. Find a good aggregate tool, a social manager tool like SocialPilot. There's a million of them. They're pretty cheap. That one post can be utilized into 50 posts very easily. Statistically speaking, within the industry, it takes about 7 touch points before a potential client trusts your brand. So those are 7 opportunities, or there's 50 opportunities to get your brand in front of clients on different platforms, get them trusting you so that when they need a car accident lawyer or defective products lawyer or whatever, they know your name, they know your brand, they're ready to move forward with you.
Think of it like you guys keep hammering on you don't need to post right away, which is absolutely correct. And for a lot of these accounts, you may never post. A lot of our clients don't. It's more advantageous too. But think of it like a parking spot is all you're locking down, right? Like you're getting an opportunity to lock down an exact match potentially for your brand name as your username on any of these platforms. If you can't, you can pick something close, like Jordan said, but the longer you wait, the more likely is that somebody might come around with a similar sounding name and they get the next best parking spot. And now all of a sudden, instead of having a good or great parking spot, you're stuck with a shitty parking spot, which we want to avoid. So just by getting these set up in the first place, you can avoid that. You get a great parking spot and you get an opportunity to hammer home some more confidence in actual customers, potential clients, but which we'll talk about in the next step. Google help them understand, oh, this company exists over here too, and they're echoing the same things that we think that they've been telling us over here. That's really important for your rankings.
Now let's jump into Google. Mike, I'll let you spearhead Google My Business because you're kind of an expert at it.
Sure. So the question, and we can make a whole video on this, and probably will in the future, where we actually dive in setting up an account, because it's super loaded, but we'll try to do it briefly. The question is, how do I set up and optimize a Google My Business profile, or today, Google Business Profile? A lot of things you need to do. First, make sure your name that you set is actually your business's name that you have legally filed. That's going to meet Google's guidelines, number one. Two, make sure that the address that you're putting on your business, which you need to fill out, if you're a law firm, you don't want to be a service area business. It defeats the purpose of having a Google business profile in the first place, in my opinion, for something as competitive as law, where the purpose in the first place is you want to show up in Google Maps. And to do that, you need a Google business profile, but Google Maps is super geo-relevant, meaning they're going to recommend places nearby where people are searching as a high ranking factor. So if you're a service area business, you're nowhere near anyone. No one can search for directions to go to you. So that's going to take you out of the game in something as competitive as law. So make sure you set an address. Make sure it's an actual office address that you have access to. There are other guidelines there. And you'll need to verify that address, lastly, with Google once you get this set up as the last process. But in the meantime, when you set your address, set your phone number. The phone number should be the same with your address found on your website and all these other platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. And then email, optional, you could include it. Don't have to necessarily include that, but that would be the basics. And then beyond there, you're going to want at least a company description about what you do. Don't worry about making the most perfect SEO optimized description out there, because you're going against some of the best SEO experts out there in an industry as competitive as this one. Just getting these fields set allows your SEO expert eventually, when you're ready to bring one in, to come in there and start going to battle for you, but at least putting yourself in the game, and they can optimize things from there. Setting attributes, setting times that you're open, make sure that those are accurate, days are open, setting, what else am I missing? Parking is something. Like, these are all attributes that Google allows you to do. They keep adding more. And whenever Google offers an opportunity to set something, we believe in setting that, because Google is going to prioritize the people that use it versus don't use it. So if you're in a competitive market like Chicago, New York, does that mean that if you do all of these things perfectly, we haven't even talked about pictures yet, you're going to want to set 3, 3, 3, and 3. So there's 3 pictures of the interior of your office, 3 pictures of the exterior of your office so that people can find it easily, 3 pictures of your team, and then 3 pictures of your brand. So that's typically your logo, your cover, and then we usually do like a team picture or something in there of like everybody together. And so Google, when they see all of that, one, it's a good user experience for their customers, people looking for lawyers in this case. Helps people find you, but also it helps Google be a lot more confident that you're a real law firm, you're not just a lead aggregator. Like, that's what they're trying to just continue to filter out with each update they release. Reaffirm to Google, you're real, you're a legitimate business, there's real people there, and you're not just harvesting leads to go sell to law firms. So if you do all that perfectly in a market like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, Corey, popcorn here, are you going to rank number 1 automatically?
No.
No, you're not. There is no chance in hell you're going to rank number 1 in those markets, because you've got some of the best SEO experts in the world, us included, going against you, because the sort of clients pay you to do. If you're in a market, however, like, I don't know, like I'm from Lake Zurich, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. If I were to set up a profile for a law firm perfectly there with everything filled out, I guarantee we rank in probably the top 3, because it's just not that competitive. But in those major markets, it's going to take some more oomph to get to where you want to be. You'll probably need the help of an SEO expert to get there. And that will hammer in our next point. The importance of views is really going to be the oomph that is required to get you where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to really quick reiterate a point you made about matching phone numbers, matching contact information. It is extremely important to make sure that your brand name matches exactly across all your online listings. So if your name is Smith Law, it needs to be Smith Law, LLC on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. It's very nitpicky, but in a flooded, oversaturated market like injury law or the law industry in general, it's hard for Google, other search engines, and even potential claimants to distinguish different law firms. By having that brand consistent, it'll further drive the consistency, relevance of your brand across the internet. So make sure that information is always exactly correct.
We won't give you the juice away today, but if you guys want it, comment saying I want the juice because you made it this far in the video. There are strategies and techniques that can be applied to make sure that your legal name matches what you're putting on these and that's in the most advantageous way possible. But we're not going to do that today, only if you guys request it.
All right, let's talk about, you've got social set up, you've got Google My Business set up. What's next? What's the next very most important thing you can do, especially as a local practice? Mike, I'll let you jump in.
That is going to be piggybacking off the end of setting up your Google My Business. You've done everything perfectly. Are you going to rank? Maybe, but the only way that you can start to put yourself in a better spot in the game is with reviews. And what do reviews do? If you're an actual human, a user looking for a lawyer, they give those potential clients confidence that one, people have worked with you already. Two, you've done good work for them if they're taking the time to leave a review. They can leave details of their experience as well, talk about what you do. Those can be optimized by them for certain keywords as well, letting them know that you do car accident lawsuits or slip and fall lawsuits, this, that, or the other. You know, they can include pictures, which we're seeing more and more commonly actually included in your photo profile by Google automatically nowadays. So reviews can be leveraged in a lot of ways, but really what it boils down to and why it's so important for a ranking factor is it continues to reaffirm that you're a real business with real customers. If the more diverse and consistent your profile is, the better too. You don't want to just drop 500 in there at once and then call it a day. Would have worked 10 years ago, not anymore. It's got to be consistency that they see. You're continuing to operate. If your human sees that, they know you're still in business. You're continuing to do good business. If Google sees that, they see you're doing business and you're continuing to do good business. In law and those big markets we mentioned before and other big markets, you're going to need hundreds of reviews at the end of the day to compete with the largest players in your market. But in your smallest markets, if you get even 10 reviews, you're going to be better than, if not every single law firm in your town. In some of these small markets we see, you're going to be better than probably 90% of them. You'll show up when people search for a car accident lawyer on Google or whatever kind of law that your firm offers.
Yeah, anecdotally, I'll use this example because a lot of the times when we talk to newer law firms, like, well, I'm in Chicago and I just looked at the map on Google and the guys ranking in the top 5 for car accident lawyer all have 5,000 reviews. Like, I'm never going to get there. Right? Which seems fair. But anecdotally, I want to point out that the number of reviews is much less important nowadays than the cadence of reviews. Our example is we've got a client who operates in a huge market space. They've got hundreds of reviews and they were absolutely crushing it in the Google results and especially Google Maps. It was a concerted effort by us and them for years to get them there. Recently, they got a little, I'll say, lazy, and they stopped getting reviews. I don't know what happened, but they went on a 6-week hiatus of no reviews after consistently getting 2 to 3 a month or more for the last 4 quarters. And what we saw was, despite having the most reviews of anyone in the marketplace, having the best SEO, some younger, smaller firms with less reviews immediately jumped ahead of them in the maps. So we did a deep dive into it, and it turned out that despite having hundreds less reviews, having been newer established law firms, their review cadence was like 2 to 3 a week for the last 2 months, while ours was nothing. And Google really prioritized them. They're trying to level the playing field and allow smaller firms like you to compete with the big guys. So it's really, really important that you have a solid cadence of reviews, even 1 to 2 a month to start. That's going to really help you to compete even against the big guys. So focus on getting reviews, a lot of reviews, the more the better. But you don't need to have 100 reviews overnight, and you don't have to have 1,000 reviews to compete. Just start getting 1, 2, build that to 2, 3 organically as you bring in more clients. It's going to build to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 a week. And then before you know it, you're going to have a few hundred and you're going to be at the top of the map.
If you do a great job on reviews, Jordan, and you don't do all the things that we mentioned in our last question of setting up your Google business profile and setting up the directories to match your Google business profile, you're probably going to still rank fantastic, right?
Maybe, yeah. I mean,
No. Trick question. No. It all has to come together, and that's the name of the game for SEO, for for getting that organic traffic and earning that equity or internet equity for free, quote unquote free. Nothing's free anymore, but it's cheaper than ads. Uh, you need to do all of this. If you're leaving any of these stones unturned, an SEO like us is going to come around, or a competitor come around and go, there's our opportunity. They're going to fill that gap for their client automatically. Boom, they're more complete. They have reviews too. Who's going to rank higher? Google's going to rank them.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. And then real quick on reviews as well, something I want to touch on is make sure you're responding to the reviews, whether they're good or bad. Make sure that you're making a unique response, taking 5 minutes out of your day to say, hey, thanks for leaving me this review. Or if it's a bad review, don't be argumentative. It's a bad look. Just say, hey, we're sorry you had a bad experience. Tell us how we can improve the experience in the future. Now, if you get a bad review and it's not legitimate, there are ways to flag it. Comment below and we'll send you a message telling you the ways that you can get Google to remove fake bad reviews.
Work. Last point I'll make on reviews before I move on is don't panic if you get a bad review. That's an opportunity. It's like if you get a 1-star review and it's fake, we find, or I personally prefer a client if they have a 4.9 rating compared to a 5.0 rating. 5.0 to me just looks phony, looks fake. Not saying we won't lean into it if we have it, but a majority of real businesses have been around forever. How many of them shoot 100% from the free throw line? I can't think of any major corporations off the top of my head. That's why they have these massive customer service departments. Well, we shoot 100%, guys, but there still are things out of our control in this magical world of Google and the internet that we're going to hop in to action. We're going to put on our firefighter suits and we're going to go and put out whatever fires exist. But when there's an unpleasant experience, even if it is legitimate, respond to it and acknowledge what happened. And customers, if they're going to DQ you just because you have one-star review, that's going to happen no matter what. But at least you give yourself an opportunity to explain the situation, explain what happened. Right the wrong potentially is always what I'll try to do as well, of seeing if there's anything that could be done or could have been done better, growth opportunities at the very least. Put that into your response, and people, I think, if they didn't DQ you just because you got a 1-star review, they appreciate to see that there's a real effort here and a real understanding as to what has occurred, not just one-sided, which if you don't respond at all is all that they'll ever see, is what that person had to say and not what happened from your point of view.
Good point. Hey, let me jump back a little bit to profile setups, GMB setups. And one of the things you're going to run into over and over again with this is adding descriptions, especially on Google My Business. It's going to ask you for what is it now, 5,000 character limit. So it gives you a lot of room to write a pretty robust description of your practice, explaining what you do. And when we talk to newer firms or even established firms, and they're like, hey, what are you guys going to make our description, or what should we make our description? The first thing that we always ask is, what's your value proposition? And the next big question we always get is, what the hell is a value proposition? And then what do I include in my value proposition? So this is going to be another thing that if you do it early on, you can have an established value proposition to lean into for all your branding, all your profiles. It's a really useful tool. But I'm going to let our head of creative and writing, Corey Tays, explain it because he's better suited than I am too.
Okay, so simply put, a value proposition is just a clear statement that explains why a client should choose your law firm. So, like JT said, this could be used in your description on your website, your bio on social media, and then you can use it to inform how you want your marketing to look more generally. A value proposition should highlight the unique benefits, your expertise, and the results your firm offers in a way to align with a potential client's needs and wants in a lawyer. So a strong value proposition builds trust, communicates credibility, and can kind of set expectations and level with the people who are going to interact with you. One thing I think that a value proposition should typically include is your primary practice area, the types of clients you serve, the value your firm offers, whether it's trial experience, proven track record, results, or like your specific philosophy or how your legal team interacts and supports clients. So it's not specifically, exactly what you do, but it's how you do it differently and what difference that can make to a potential client. One thing I think you should do is start identifying kind of what your law firm does best or what your new law firm is going to set the standard or benchmark as, and then how that benefits clients. So generic claims, kind of like experienced or dedicated, don't really do much, but focusing on your real differentiators will kind of allow you to find what your value proposition should be. So if it's a proven tracker record in a specific type of case, or your approach to client support and personalization of legal services, anything that sets yourself apart from the competition in a meaningful way is probably what you should lean into for your value proposition. I think it should be
So I
short.
have a question.
Can I have my question
Can you,
first?
Jordan,
Mike has a
go ahead.
question. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Jordan. Um, so can you give us an example of what a common value prop might look like for a law firm?
Let's think of one. Something like for a car accident law firm could be along the lines of you help car accident victims recover physically, emotionally, and financially, and offer hands on legal support, constant communication, and strategies built around your unique needs, not treating you as a case number. Something to that effect, maybe a little bit more honed in and kind of workshopped, but something that signifies your specific case, or practice area type, and then how you translate that to your personalized legal experience.
The William Shakespeare of our generation. So mine is going to be a lot more uh, blunt and not nearly as poetic or beautiful sounding. Corey, by the way, great value prop. Um, Most common one that you see on the billboards everywhere. $9 billion recovered for our clients. There's our value prop, right? Like that's the value we bring to the table. 10,000 clients, 100+ years of combined legal experience. But what do people do when you're just starting a law firm and you might have 0 to 1 clients already on your books? You got to start somewhere, but you have to flip the script, right? What do those big firms do? They kind of turn into big machines. They're good at what they do. They're going to get you settlements, but are you going to get the personal touch of someone who's just starting off, who is going to handhold every single client each step of the way, and every single time they go to bed at night and wake up in the morning, all they're thinking about is getting them the best results or their handful of clients' results? No. So what does your value prop become if you're just starting off? It's an individualized customer or client approach that you won't find at the bigger firms, right? Like that would be an example that comes to mind for me. So those are my simple versions. They're not nearly as beautiful. Of course, you can workshop them, like Corey said, or have someone like Corey help you kind of fine tune them, but simple down or boiled down the most simple versions we see in the wild every single day.
Yeah. And I was also thinking more in terms of, website description, bio. I think
Right.
billboard, I mean, not like a first, newly established law firm is not going to be buying the billboard in downtown Chicago. It's going to be establishing this credibility through language and consistency across all of your, opportunities to, deliver that language. So I think honing in on, your personalized client experience, your just firm philosophy is going to be the first key indicator to people of, I should trust this person, rather than, seeing the big guy flaunting, a private jet, $9 billion. Like we'd all love to get there someday, but you don't get there through bragging. You can get there through being an empathetic and understanding lawyer that promotes his services in a way that resonates with people.
First off, if you're a young lawyer and you are wanting to do billboards, talk to TruLaw Marketing. We offer omni-channel traditional marketing and advertising services. Yeah, Corey, I think you nailed it, and Mike, you nailed it as well. One thing I'll add is when you're trying to figure out what makes you unique, do not lean into free consultation, no fees unless we win. That's not unique. It's not unique to the industry. You can use it in your language. Mike, I can't hear you. Yeah, I think your Mike's mic might have died. Oh, he's gone. He's figuring this out. I'll keep talking. Now, there we go.
Mhm. It turns out
Yeah.
everyone offers those things.
Yeah, it does. You can use it, and it's not okay. It's fine to use in your language, and your copy because there's good selling points. But think about what makes you unique to other law firms. It doesn't have to be exactly your practice. It could be you give a lot to the community. We've got a younger attorney we work with who's a one-man shop. His whole value proposition is, hey, I'm a young attorney who's hip to tech. So like I'm a digital first law firm. So I offer all these cool ways that you can work with me through apps and through the website and, through text, and not sitting down at my office and signing, paperwork, and like real paperwork. It's all digitized. That's a good thing. You can stand out and a crowded market with simple things like that. So if you ever need help coming up with a value proposition, DM us, email us, and we will give you a one-time free value proposition assessment and writing assistance session. So putting that on the table for you.
Give us your exact description of what you're looking for and what you got going on in a comment. I'll make you another deal too. We'll even answer that in a future video and workshop it in real time. But if you might reach out the other ways, you'll get a response on the other platforms.
So another thing after value prop and setting up your profiles is going to be adding images, graphics, videos, that kind of thing. So again, Corey, I'll let you handle this one. One of the questions we get a lot is, do I need to hire a professional photographer, videographer, graphic designer to, help me set up all these graphics and images?
So, in terms of professional photos off the bat, I don't think it's ultimately necessary right off the bat to get professional photos. Like JT said earlier, just using your iPhone to take the photos for Google My Business, for your social platforms and everything is, I think, just passable. But as you more lean into your brand and establish kind of what you want your firm to be about and kind of the visual identity you want to represent, I think professional photos add another layer of credibility and professionalism to your visual identity. I think along with photos, professional graphics, like, through Canva even, I think those can speak a lot to, a client's experience online. You can use Canva graphics with photos of yourself to create, settlement announcements for social posting, for Google My Business, for your website. Images are a big SEO boost to your website. So I think professional photos along with professional graphics included just support, the ecosystem of digital success that you can establish with, all these SEO tactics. I think professional photos are a huge indicator of success.
Everyone, I think you made this one earlier, Corey. Everyone's going to start somewhere, right? And for the firms that are smaller, realize that there's going to be a massive firm out there, just like in any industry or massive company, where they have whole teams and departments that are responsible for making the most beautiful graphics you could imagine. But don't worry about being perfect. Just get it done. Just do it and put yourself in the game in the first place. Because once we're in the game, we can worry about building that game piece up to become bigger, better over time, where you have teams or people you hire for these to make more beautiful versions of what you created yourself. But if you're just starting off, don't be afraid from beginning in the first place. Put yourself in the game, and then people like us or other marketers can come around and they can beef up your graphics. Not as good as us, but they can beef it up to make it look as close to personal as possible.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so you've set up your socials, you've set up your GMB, you're getting reviews, you have some photos, some images, and a value proposition to help you boost up all those platforms that you're on now. And you're exploring all the places you can exist online as an attorney. What's the next big one? The legal directories. And this is a question we get, again, all the time, not just from new law firms, like well-established law firms, is why should I list my firm on legal directories? How do I do it? Do I need to pay for the premium account? The answer is yes. It is very necessary to take the time, at least for the free accounts at first, to set up legal directory profiles for your firm, for you yourself as an attorney. Make sure that all the information on those directories matches the information that you've placed on your socials, on your GMB. Make sure you link to those socials, your GMB, your website from those directories. The thing about directories is, one, They're a necessary evil because everyone else is doing them. So when Google and other search engines and even potential clients are trying to figure out who they're going to choose as their lawyer, they might search for a car accident lawyer in your area, find you, find your competitor, search, do some due diligence on both of you, see that your competitor is listed on AVVO or super lawyers. And that's just that added level of trust and credibility. And the same goes for Google. When Google's trying to determine, are you just another lead gen agency disguised as the law firm, or are you legit? They're going to look at Martindale, AVVO, lawyers, lawyer.com, and they're going to see that you're listed there, and they're going to say, okay, these guys aren't a lead gen company. They're legitimate lawyers. They're listing on these legal directory websites. So do that for free at first. And then eventually, when you have the budget, once you've spent some budget on SEO, on other marketing, it will eventually become necessary to get the premium directories. But that isn't an immediate necessity. So you don't have to jump the gun on spending. Oh, what's up, Mike?
Because this is all super daunting to me. How do I know what to put on my profile and what a good profile looks like when it's filled out?
One of the things you can do is use all of, I mean, it's all structured data for the most part within the back end of the profiles. Fill it out completely, make sure it matches, use the same description that you're using on Google that's based on your value proposition. Do a little research into what your competitors are doing in your market. So if you're a car accident lawyer in Chicago, see who the biggest car accident lawyers in Chicago are, look at their Justia account, and figure out what they're listing, what they're adding. That'll give you some indication of like what's working. So that's really important. I'm going to piggyback off yours because this is a question we get all the time too. What are legitimate versus non-legitimate legal directories? Because people have realized that there's a bunch of value in running legal directories. So now there's a million of them, whereas even 3-4 years ago, there was only a handful. It's really hard to distinguish. We have a tracker that we keep in hand. If it's free, there's no harm in setting up a profile for it. Some legal directories are a lot stronger than others in terms of SEO value and even non-SEO value. So if you want to know which ones we consider legit versus the not legit ones, DM us, leave a message or comment, and we'll send you the list of our must-have legal directories versus the ones that aren't as important.
Teeing up that State of the Union on legal directories as a representative, all of them are important. You want to make sure you do, out of all the million that exists now, fill them all out completely because they're all super important. The world needs them all. And by 2030, we're hoping to have 2 million on the markets. Jordan, perfect example, perfect answer there. If they exist, if they're free, they're going to help you in some capacity. But the bigger ones, Justia, AVVO, Martindale, Fine Law, what else am I missing? That comes to mind, super lawyers.
Lawyers, lawyer.com, Law Dragon.
If you guys do your research, you'll find out that a lot of these guys just own all of them. They're the same people that own them all. They're a conglomerate. But those are the big ones that come to mind. See what other ones you can, again, competitor research is the best way to find your North Star. Like Jordan was saying, that'll show you what to put in your profile, what a complete profile looks like based on who's showing up. And then lastly, it'll show you which profiles you should look for next if you don't already have them for your law firm.
All right. Okay, so to recap everything we've covered today, if you're a new lawyer, if you're setting up a new law firm, and your question is, what are the steps I take in order to establish some digital presence without hiring a marketing agency or spending a lot of money? Your steps are setting up all those socials, setting up your Google My Business, getting reviews, getting some imagery to use on all those socials and platforms, establishing a value proposition or some type of unique outline of your business to use as a description for all of those. Starting to create some graphics. There's free tools like Corey mentioned, like Canva, to do this. Setting up those free legal directories. And then once you've done all that, come talk to us. If you're ready to really start driving some intake and some clients, talk to TruLaw Marketing. We'll give you a free audit of your digital presence, give you some direction, and then draft you a customized plan for an SEO strategy that'll work in your market for your practice areas. If you got questions about any of this stuff, comment below, leave us a DM. go to our website. Happy to hand you over a free value proposition assessment and exercise. Happy to help you determine best legal directories to use and give you some recommendations on some free or cheap tools that'll help you with things like social media management. I'm Jordan Terry. Corey Tays, Mike Lowe, we're with TruLaw Marketing. And if you stuck around the whole time, thank you, and we'll see you next week. See you guys.
See you.
Bye, Corey. Corey, fun fact. You gotta do a fun fact.
Let me think of a good one. There's one region in China that's the size of Kentucky, that has more population, double that of Canada. So the Pearl River Delta, I think it's Guangzhou, Shenzhen, and Hong Kong has over 85 million people, and that's double the population of Canada in the size of the state of Kentucky. So a lot of people in there.
It was an impressive fact to pull off the top of the brain.
One if you guys want.
Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to do that. All right, see you guys.